What's up, guys, and welcome back to another reaction video. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're not reacting to a trailer or to a regular YouTube video. Today we're going to be reacting to James Gunn's announcements for the DC Universe movies and television shows, the new DCU, as people will say. I will admit I already watched the announcement video that James Gunn put up on his Twitter, but we're going to rewatch it together. But this time, I'm going to pause throughout the video and give my thoughts on each announcement because there's a lot to take in here. So without further ado, let's get right into it.
Buddy, I'm James Gunn. I'm the co-CEO of DC Studios. So as many of you know, DC has been disconnected in film and television for a long time. And it's one of, our jobs, mine and Peter's, is to come in and make sure the DCU is connected in film, television, gaming, and animation. That the characters are consistent, played by the same actors, and it works within one story. And if something is outside of that, like Matt Reeves' Batman or Todd Phillips' Joker or Teen Titans Go, that it is clearly labeled as DC Elseworlds, outside of the mainstream DCU continuity.
All right, so I'll stop it right there. I love that DC Elseworlds is a thing. I know that the Batman franchise and the Joker franchise are two very important things to Warner Brothers alone. So of course they're going to continue it. They're big money makers. They're very critically and fan high praise received movies. So of course they're going to continue with that. I love how they're labeling them DC Elseworlds. The other thing I'll say, which I find interesting, is that James Gunn has said this before on Twitter, but he's going to make everything connected. We're talking animated projects into live action projects into even video games. Very interesting. That's all he really says about the video game part here, but I am curious to see if Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League has anything to do with this new continuity of the new DCU. Let's continue watching.
Now, Peter and I have gotten pretty lucky in terms of the 4 projects that are coming out over the next year. First, we have Shazam, Fury of the Gods. Shazam has always been off kind of in his own part of the DCU, so he connects very well. That moves directly into The Flash, a fantastic movie that I really love that resets the entire DC universe.
All right, so I'll stop it here again. It's interesting what he's saying here, because he's saying Shazam is in a different part of the DCU, but still part of the same universe? Is that like what he's saying? I'm not too sure. This is where I started to get confused by the announcements. Like, is Zachary Levi's Shazam going to be continuing in the new DCU? I'm not sure. But then the most key thing, important thing that he just said was that The Flash is going to reset the whole universe, which is going to be really interesting to see. The fact that James Gunn is saying that he loves the film it gives me hope for sure. I was definitely worried about it. But it's good or bad, the movie, it's going to be a big one regardless, because if it's resetting everything, then we got to know the closing here of the old DCEU, the DC Extended Universe. All right, let's continue watching.
Then to move into Blue Beetle, a fantastic film about a
Blue
kid
Beetle,
who's a marvelous part of the DCU, and then into Aquaman 2, which leads directly into our next few projects, which I'm going to tell you about now. So, Peter and I, along with a group of very talented writers, have started to map out an 8 to 10 year plan of what DC Studios will be in film, television, and gaming. This first chapter is called Gods and Monsters. Now, what I'm about to tell you, is a part of the first chapter. It's not the entire first chapter.
All right, so I love how they're calling them chapters, not phases. Way to not copy Marvel. I love that. All right, let's continue. Gods and Monsters. Love that title for the first chapter as well.
The first project is Creature Commandos. Creature Commandos is an animated series. I've written all the episodes. Something we're going to do that's a little bit different at DC is we're going to have characters move into animation, out of animation, usually having the same actor play their voice as who plays them in live action.
All right. I don't know who the Creature Commandos are. Honestly, I have no idea. I didn't even know they existed. It's an animated project. But the thing that I love that James Gunn said is that even with the animated projects, it's still connected to the live action DC universe. And with that said, if they're going to bring characters from, say, Creature Commandos into a live action movie or TV show, they'll use that same actor who voice acted that character to be in the movie. I think that's incredible. It's something way different than they're doing with Marvel, kinda, because Marvel had What If, which is, it's the multiverse, so I guess it's connected to the MCU. But we're not talking about Marvel here. I love the idea that they're going to take actors who are voice acting a character and bring them into live action projects playing the same character. That's amazing to me. All right, let's continue.
The next project up is Waller. This is a story of Amanda Waller, played by Viola Davis. Viola Davis is going to team up with members of Team Peacemaker, and this is a story that's been created by Crystal Henry, who did Watchmen, and Jeremy Carver, who created the Doom Patrol. It is a fantastic story that's out of this world, and I can't wait for people to see it.
Okay. Now, Waller. I'm surprised they never made a show about Amanda Waller to begin with, especially in the CW days when CW was big with the DC shows. But this has me a little confused again. Like, all right, so Viola Davis is coming back to play Amanda Waller. Is that evidence that... I don't know. I'm a little confused by this. I really am. But he even brought up Team Peacemaker, that Amanda Waller is going to team up with Team Peacemaker. Obviously, John Cena's returning then as Peacemaker. So I like that. I do like John Cena as Peacemaker. That also makes me think that Margot Robbie's staying as Harley Quinn. It's also making me think that Jason Momoa is still staying as Aquaman. The only people that I'm pretty sure aren't returning are Ezra Miller Flash, Henry Cavill Superman, and Ben Affleck Batman. And Ray Fisher Cyborg. But who knows about Gal Gadot Wonder Woman? Interesting. Let's continue.
Okay. Next up is the big one, the true beginning of the DCU. This is called Superman Legacy. This is being written by me. I'm in the middle of it. I'm having a great time doing it. And Superman will be released into theaters July 11th, 2025.
Okay. Now, first off, the fact that James Gunn is writing a Superman movie, that's incredible to me. I don't know if he's going to direct it. He didn't confirm that in this video. He might be looking for a different director for it. But the fact that he's writing it is amazing. I am a little disappointed that they didn't cast Superman yet. But at the same time, that's understandable because he's still in the process of writing it. So usually someone doesn't get casted as a character until after the whole script is finished, so you could see who would fit a good part for that script. So that's okay. Not the biggest deal in the world. But I am very excited that Superman will be back. I'm glad that he is once again the beginning of, these new projects sort of deal, as far as movies. And it's called Superman Legacy, and it's coming out in 2025. So that's... in 2 years, we'll already be having the Superman film. So very excited about that. Let's continue.
Okay, the next thing is a big premiere HBO television series called Lanterns. This is a story of a couple of Green Lanterns, Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan, and we have a few other Lanterns peppered in there, but this is really a terrestrial-based TV show, which is almost like True Detective, with a couple of Green Lanterns who are space cops watching over Precinct Earth. In it, they discover a terrifying mystery that ties into our larger story of the DCU.
Okay, now, a lot of people knew this. There was a Green Lantern show that was in development for a very long time. And originally it was called Green Lantern Green Lantern Corps, whatever you want to call it. What did he just say it was called? Lantern Corps or Lanterns or something like that? Following Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan, the two main Green Lanterns. I think that's fantastic. And the fact that he said that they're going to discover something that's going to be detrimental to the rest of the universe is really big news, because that's what's probably going to connect and wrap all these characters together to come into one movie to team up and defeat whatever threat is upon them. I was always excited for this Green Lantern show. I feel like that movie with Ryan Reynolds was actually not, I wouldn't even say decent. It wasn't good, but I love the concept and idea of the Green Lanterns. And the fact that they didn't appear at all during the DCEU and not in the Justice League movie, that was like a sin to me. But I'm glad they're finally putting the pedal to the metal on that project. Did he say when it was going to be released? I might have missed that. I don't think he did, but that's going to be a big one.
Next is a big movie called The Authority. The Authority is a passion project of mine. It's based on the marvelous Wildstorm characters we are now bringing into the DCU and will interact with all of our primary DCU characters. The Authority are a group of superheroes who think the world is broken and they want to fix it by any means necessary. I think it's a very different look at superheroes.
All right, so The Authority I've never heard of before. But the concept sounds very interesting. Taking, all superheroes kind of take the law into their own hands, but these guys, I like how James Gunn likes to find different ways that we could look at superheroes by bringing in characters like these who are very different in their own way. So the fact that he's making this into a live action movie, and he even said it, this is a big one, is very interesting to me. That's all I really got to say about The Authority. I have no idea who any of the characters are, but all right, let's continue.
We're doing a television series called Paradise Lost. Paradise Lost is the story of Paradise Island, usually known as Themyscira, which is the birthplace of Wonder Woman. It's almost like Game of Thrones with Westeros, but with all of the inhabitants of Paradise Island.
Okay, so Paradise Island, the Themyscira. This has me wonder. I'm surprised he didn't say anything about Gal Gadot staying on. This definitely seems to be a prequel series of when Paradise Island, the Themyscira, first originates. Maybe that could be the case, but it definitely seems like an origin prequel sort of deal to the Wonder Woman movies. I'm kind of excited for that. I mean, Wonder Woman's a great character, but I could honestly care less about the Amazons, the Amazonians, and all that crap. All right, let's continue.
The introduction of the DCU's Batman is The Brave and the Bold. The Brave and the Bold is the story of Batman and his actual son, Damian Wayne. This is based on Grant Morrison's great comic book run. Damian Wayne is my favorite Robin. He's a little assassin who Batman tries to get in line, and so this is the story of the two of them and the beginning of sort of the Bat family in the DCU.
Okay, so 2 things about this Batman film. 3 things. Number 1, extremely excited, obviously. Batman's like my favorite superhero of all time. Number 2, the fact that James Gunn is bringing Damian Wayne right away into the movies. Damian Wayne is the latest Robin. I thought with them resetting the DC universe and them casting a younger Batman potentially, they didn't cast anyone yet that we know of. Anyway, I thought with it being a younger Batman, they were gonna cast Dick Grayson, Nightwing, the first Robin. I'm pretty sure that's the first Robin if I got my facts straight. But no, they're going straight into Damian Wayne, which is still cool though, because he even says that this is going to be the start of the Bat family. So that still means Nightwing and Red Robin and Red Hood and Batgirl, they all exist in the universe, which is awesome. And the fact that they're calling it The Brave and the Bold is fantastic. It'll definitely separate the Batman from Brave and the Bold movies. The fact that they're both called different things, I think that's going to help the general audience out a lot. So extremely excited for that. All right, let's continue.
Next up is a TV series called Booster Gold. Booster Gold is one of comics' really popular cult heroes. He is a fascinating guy. He's a loser from the future who uses future technology to come back to present day and become a superhero so that people will love him. It is basically the superhero story of imposter syndrome on an HBO Max series.
All right, so Booster Gold, I didn't really know much about, but I think he explained him perfectly. He explained him pretty funnily as well. I think it's a great idea to have as a HBO Max series. I think it's a great idea. So yeah, Booster Gold. Who do I think they're going to cast as Booster Gold? I think Chris Pratt. I think Chris Pratt. You know, Chris Pratt and James Gunn work very closely on the Guardians movies. I just have a feeling. And it's pretty highly rumored, too, that Chris Pratt will play him. All right, let's continue.
One of my favorite comic book series from last year was Tom King's run on Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. And so we're going to turn that into a big science fiction epic film. Now, Superman is a guy who was sent to Earth and raised by loving parents, whereas Supergirl in this story, she is a character who was raised on a chunk of Krypton. She watched everybody around her perish in some terrible way, so she's a much more jaded character.
All right, so I think it's very interesting that a Superman and a Supergirl movie are happening in the same chapter, the same phase as each other. It's very interesting in one way where I don't think it's the best idea because it seems like they might be rushing bringing all these characters in. But on the other hand, I think it's an amazing idea because like James Gunn just said, Superman has a totally different origin story than Supergirl. So we'll be able to compare and contrast the two Kryptonian stories after Krypton explodes. So I actually like that a lot. Big question about Supergirl. Is it going to be the same Supergirl that's in the Flash movie? That I don't know, but we will find out soon. All right, let's continue.
And that brings me to Swamp Thing, the last thing we're going to talk about, a very dark horror story in the origins of the monster who is Swamp Thing. And although it's totally outside of the rest of the DCU, it will still feed into the rest of the stories.
All right, so Swamp Thing, they made that show, which only lasted one season. In fact, they actually canceled it after the first episode premiered. But I'm glad they're bringing Swamp Thing back. The series, back a couple years ago, actually got great reviews from both the critics and fans. So I think that's part of the reason why they're bringing Swamp Thing into it. And it would also make sense with the first chapter being called Gods and Monsters. So I think that's fantastic. And yeah, let's continue and see what else he says.
Anyway, those are the stories that I can tell you about right now. I've loved the DC characters since I was a child. They're incredibly important to me. I knew that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to do something very different. One of the things that's very important for me in all of these movies and TV series is that the director's vision and the vision of the writers and all of the creators is unique and something special. Storytelling is always king. That's all that matters to us.
Yes.
And I want to be true to those stories. I want to be true to you guys and really give you something different than you've ever seen before. Anyway, thank you, everybody. I appreciate you watching. I hope this was exciting for you because it's really exciting for me. And I can't wait to start to dive into these stories with you guys on this grand adventure. Thank you so much.
All right, so I think it was extremely important for James Gunn to say at the end there how much DC Comics means to him and how storytelling is the number one main priority in all of this, in all of these projects. And that's because that's what was lacking in the old universe of DC movies. And he had to say that. He just had to say it. I mean, people were going to be excited for this regardless, but that was just like a reaffirmation to say that that this is going to happen. So yeah, James Gunn, I trust in you so damn much, and I love you, and I'm so glad, you know, someone's stepping up to the plate to make things right and give DC justice in movies and TV. He already started doing a great job doing that with the Suicide Squad movie and Peacemaker Season 1. The only little disappointment I have is that they didn't cast anyone yet. As far as Superman, Batman, they didn't announce anyone who is returning from the old universe. Nothing like that. Like you had the Jason Momoa viral video go out of him being so excited after he exited Warner Brothers and was like, oh boy, I got some news for you. And none of that was there. But I mean, otherwise, I'm excited. I am very, very excited, and I hope you're excited too. If you guys are excited and you like the video that James Gunn put up, let me know in the comments below. Also, make sure to like, subscribe, and share. And also follow us on all social media platforms at FARANK_videos. I would have made this whole video into an entire podcast, but our schedule is all filled up already, and I just thought a reaction video would be better off for this anyway. But with that said, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and peace out.